What will it take to wake people up? Now, we've done a video earlier, probably a day ago, maybe 2 days ago, that you can't wake everybody up. So now you have to ask yourself, what will it take to wake certain people up? Will it take an earthquake? Will it take a collapse of the stock markets? Will it take an attack? An attack on our homeland in America? I didn't want to say it. What would it take? Will it take a catastrophic event? Will it take an event that could be man-made or some other type to wake people up? Because they obviously they can't look around. There's some people who cannot look around and say, it's really bad. No, no, no. They're looking around. They're seeing things that are bad, but they're not paying attention. It's not clicking on the inside of them. It really does appear as if some people has to have a catastrophic event, something very, very terrible, before they will even open their eyes wide enough to even see what's going on. That's what it seems like. It takes something catastrophic, because right now they're just going through the life. They're going through the motions. They see things happening. They think, oh, well, that's just normal. The world's going a little bit crazy. The world's going a whole lot crazy. All you got to do is turn on the news. All you got to do is look around. Look what's happening in the stores. Have you ever seen so many restaurants and stuff with help wanted? Have you ever seen the prices, well, you probably have, going up at the rate that they're going in the stores, the food? Have you been seeing food disappearing off the shelves? Have you been seeing supply chain breaking down, like parts for trucks? They can't make the trucks because there are no parts, because the supply chain is breaking down. They don't know when they're going to get the part in to fix your lawnmower. They don't know when they're going to get this or that because the supply chain is breaking down. Have they seen something like this in their lifetime? Probably not. Probably not like what's going to be coming. What will it take for people to wake up? For some people, they're going to have some kind of catastrophic event. Catastrophic, something life-shattering event before they ever wake up. They can look around. They truly can. Good afternoon. They can look around and they can see things and they just dismiss it. Well, the world's just gone crazy. I'm just going to keep doing whatever. Okay, you're going to keep doing whatever, but are you going to prepare for when it gets really bad, for when that catastrophic event occurs, before you have a chance to prepare? Are you going to? Are you going to prepare before that comes? Because for some people, it truly is, that's what it takes. Something catastrophic, something life-altering, and it does happen like that. It happens like that. Before people wake up, even in with our normal lives, it takes I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. It takes something personal that occurs within their family before they wake up. Before they wake up. Could you imagine something on a national level, on an international level, and then all of a sudden, you see the news is flashing on there. You see something on there that literally you've never saw before. You see an announcement that is being made and you just cannot believe it, but you've seen it coming, but you didn't want to see it coming, but then it's right there in your face. That's the kind of event it's going to take for some people to wake up, because you've already done your part. You've already done your part. You can't do any more. They're not going to listen to you. They're going to listen to when something flashes on the TV, when the news comes out, and this is literally right there in their face, and it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible, and it affects everybody. That's what it's going to take for those people to wake up. The ones that you have been saying, please, you need to prepare. This is what's coming. This is my nose is itching. This is what's coming, and they don't want to listen to you. So this is the other part of it. It's going to take an event like that. It's going to have to be something that is literally blasted all over the news, all over the media. Everybody's talking about it. And then their eyes are going to get really big and they say, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? and everybody going to rush to the stores. They're going to rush to the stores. It's going to be a little chaotic. Maybe they're going to rush to the gas stations, fill their gas tanks up and stuff like that because they waited and they didn't want to listen. But then you got some kind of thing being blasted on the TV, some type of an event that has occurred, and it's right there in their face. And they waited a little bit too late. I encourage you, if there's anything you've got to do, any preparations that you would like to have on hand before something happens, I would encourage you to get it. I really would, because you don't want to be that person who sits there and waits to the last minute. You see things happen, oh, it's going to get better, it's fine, it's not that bad, until you see the announcement that occurs on the TV or on the computer, until you see something like that. Then you realize, well, now I guess I better go do something. It's like when that snowstorm, they give you warnings ahead of time before the snowstorms hit. And people all rush to the store because they put it out there. They rush to the store at the same time. So what's it going to take before some people wake up because they didn't want to listen when you were trying to warn them? It's going to take something like that. It's going to have to literally be put into their face right there. Everywhere they turn, they're going to hear it, they're going to see it. And then those people who didn't want to listen, they're going to have to listen, because everywhere they turn, they're hearing what they were been told, but they chose to ignore. It's something like that. A bug out bag, you got to get a bug out bag, you all. You do. Get yourself ready. But get yourself ready on the inside of your being right here. First and foremost, you've got to get strong on the inside of here. You got to get close to God. You got to build up that inner person on the inside right there. You got to build your spirit up. You got to build one another up. You got to be anchored in love. Love. You got to have the balance within. You got to get ready. You've got to get ready. And for those people who choose to ignore the warning signs, when you're looking around and you see things ain't right, they're not right over there and they're not right over there, but you choose to just keep ignoring it, I hope you wake up before it's literally right in your face and you have no time left. No time left. There's going to be a lot of people who find themselves in that boat, the no time left boat. Really, that's what it is, the no time left boat. And you're not prepared for what's coming. So that's what it's going to take for some people, some kind of catastrophic event, and something you're going to see blasted all over the television sets. And people have had dreams and visions about that. Like where they have a speaker come on. Yeah, they come on the TV right there and they think, oh, what is going on? What is going on? You remember how a while back we had briefings every single day. Every single day. And I thought, this is really strange. This feels really weird. And I know a lot of people felt, this feels really weird. We're having briefings every single day like clockwork. What if that was just a trial run? Even though something did happen. But what if something like that becomes the norm? The norm. But yet, and then when it does happen like that, if something really bad happens and we go into lockdown, you're not going nowhere. You are not going nowhere. You're not going to get in your car and go to the store and do the last minute shoppings because they'll lock everything down. They'll set up road check. This is what some, yes, okay, I'm glad I mentioned it. This was something I did want to mention. When we lived in Berlin, Germany, my husband was in the Air Force. He worked at Tempelhof Central Airport. He was a German linguist. When it came time to, your families could go visit East Berlin, here's what we had to do. The Checkpoint Charlie. You imagine this on a massive scale. This is what I was talking to someone about. I remember sitting in the bus seat, holding my daughter. My husband was sitting next to me. We had to, every single person on that bus had to hold their military ID up to the window, and that guard out there, which was not from the United States, I can't remember which country that guard person was. I don't know if it was Russia or nothing or something like that. We had to hold our IDs up there, and they walked by with their clipboard and they wrote every single person's name on that bus. That took around 30 minutes. Then we were allowed to go in on the bus to East Germany. We visited the Russian War Memorial. We visited East Germany, where they had it was all in rubble. It was in rubble. The Russians built their stuff back up, the areas they had, but the East Germans, the buildings were still demolished. People were in long lines waiting for undergarments and stuff. I remember getting like a bratwurst meal with some kraut and stuff, 2 pennies. 2 pennies, because their currency was like so devalued over there. Then we had to get back on the bus, and we came back to the checkpoint Charlie. We had to hold our IDs up to the bus again, and he walked around again and checked off every single name. You had to sit in the seats that you were assigned. Could you imagine checkpoint Charlies all throughout the United States of America, or all throughout your country? Could you imagine checkpoints where you literally have to hold your thing there, and if you ain't got it there? Or could you imagine the checkpoints where you got to take your cell phone and you got to scan that little QR code? You got to scan something with your cell phone. Can you imagine that? As you go into a certain territory, and then when you come out, we already got something like that in place. You got something like the toll bridges, the road tolls and stuff. You know how you can go through the tolls, and they read your license plates, or you get that little pass up there on the top. You can get off the exit and you go to the rest stop and stuff, or wherever. And then when you get back on, you know, it's going to do it again. Could you imagine? I'm getting a hot flash. Could you imagine checkpoint Charlies? I'm going to say this right now. There was a time, there was a military drill where the National Guard were doing things like that. They were setting up checkpoints. This was a drill. They had checkpoints around the United States, and they had these mobile vans, and they were doing stuff to, I'm not going to say what they were doing, but they were practice doing, but they had checkpoints set up. This is, I heard it years and years ago, they did that drill. And no, and you know the National Highway is like, is it the Eisenhower? They can shut it down. They can shut the roads completely down, and you don't exit your city. You don't exit. You don't get on the road unless you have a reason to be on the road. And chances are, now here's how it was in Berlin. When that first war broke out with the in Iraq, and the housing complex where we lived at, it went on lockdown, and they had school buses surrounding the elementary school right by the housing complex. They had military tanks in the housing, American military tanks. They had a man up there with a machine gun. They had machine guns with the men as we were exiting our housing division. We had to show that we, you know, okay, we had to tell them where we were going to go. They had somebody checking your ID before you even got, what you do if you go to the commissary BX, you would have to show your ID. They had a guard outside there. And then when we walked back, of course, there's the guy with the machine gun and the military and the tanks. They were all over. And before we could even get in our own housing, in our own building, they had a uniformed personnel standing there looking at our military ID to prove that we live in that building. This was within the barracks themselves. Even though we lived there, we still had, that's how locked down they came, just like that. If you're not used to something like that, it's going to really take you for a loop. It is. You're going to really thinking, oh my gosh, I can't handle this right here. So imagine that. Imagine a lockdown like that. That would be really bad. But it wasn't safe over there. It wasn't. We were in the housing complex, and it was in the middle of the city in Berlin, outside the whatever. It was just blended in. There was really no separate whatever, no guarded gate or anything like that you find at some of the military bases. It wasn't an open. No. Could you imagine checkpoints set up all over the place? Could you imagine the roads shut down? You ain't allowed on it. Even in severe weather events, they tell you you cannot go out on the roads unless you're emergency personnel in certain events. They have the power to do that. They have the authority to do that. And when you wait to the last minute to get prepared, you're not going to be able to go out. If it came to lockdown like that, you're not going to go out. You're not. You're going to be stuck in your house, and you better hope and pray that you got the water, you got the food, you got whatever you need to sustain you till you are able to go out. And this is no gloom and doom. No, this is the real world. This is the real world. It's already being set up. You're already getting groceries delivered to your homes from these stores. You're getting parts from the hardware stores. You're getting all of it. They've already got it all set up. It's all set up. They got the miniature hospitals all around certain housing areas. They just popped up, the urgent cares, but they're like a clinic or whatever, and they're fully equipped within 15 minutes. I mean, you got some shopping centers. It's all set up. They planned. They got their plans and they implemented them. They implemented their plans. You've got to get ready. So what's it going to take for people to wake up? Is it going to take a catastrophic event? Is it going to take another lockdown? Well, if there's another lockdown, it's a little too late because it will be a bigger lockdown than what was before. Where was it? Someone, her name was Merlina. Wherever she lived overseas, maybe it was like in Australia, I don't know where it was, one of those countries. During that lockdown over there, you weren't allowed to leave your area, because if you were found in a different zone that you weren't supposed to, you got fined. I remember her friend came to visit her, and they checked their IDs, and they saw that she was not from that province. Even though she was a guest at Marlena's house, she was fined a lot of money. Don't say that that will not happen here, because it quite well, it can, how do you need the words? It very well could happen here. It very well could happen here. Is it going to take a catastrophic event? Is it going to take the media being blasted? Because everywhere you look, then you'll see it, and it'd be too late then. Well, I should have listened to them ahead of time. Well, it's too late. You had the chance to listen, to prepare, but you waited too late because you thought nothing will come of it. But then all of a sudden, there comes that life-altering event, not just for you, but for everyone else. And even those who did prepare, even those who were looking around and heeding the warnings and doing what they could with the time that they were given and with the resources that they were given, they prepared, they made preparations. Everybody will be in the same boat like that when they see it on the TV like that. Some people will be better prepared. You had the 5 foolish virgins and the 5 wise virgins. It'd be something like that. You could compare it to like the Noah's Ark. That is rather, took him years to build that ark. And then the floods came, and it was too late. It was too late. The boat floated and they weren't on it. They weren't on the boat. They weren't. Do not be afraid. That's right, off the hook. You got to be aware. You've got to be aware of what's happening. You've got to strengthen that person on the inside of you. You do not want to collapse within. When you see a collapse occur of some sort, you do not. You want to be strong enough to stand within your being. You got to have the strength to stand. You got to have the strength and the wisdom to think straight. You cannot allow yourself to get caught off guard. That's the day and age we're living in. You've got to have a solid mindset up here. Look around. It's somewhat normal. You can still go out and do whatever. But the day will come when it won't be that somewhat normal. No, it's going to get really rocky. It's going to get really shaky. The foundation is really going to shake. It's going to shake. So I'm going to go. So what will it take for people to wake up? Will it take something being blasted on the news? Everywhere they look, everybody's talking about it, some kind of catastrophic event, something terrible that has happened. Is it going to take something like that? Because obviously when people were trying to warn them, they didn't want to hear it. Will they listen then? They'll listen then. They will listen then. But they may not be strong enough within to handle it. If you can listen now, you will kind of be able to not be so shocked when something like that is blasted all over the place, you wouldn't be so shocked because you will have had a chance to prepare yourself on the inside of here. On the inside of here. I am going to go. That's what I had to say. And if you're a new subscriber, thank you. If you're a new member who has joined this channel, thank you. And if you haven't subscribed and you would like to subscribe, I would appreciate it. I really would. And so would a lot of other people. And if you don't mind, please give this video a thumbs up because we're living in the day and age where things are going to start changing very rapidly. And some people are not going to be ready for it. It's at the point you can't warn people anymore. It's going to take right in their face. Right in their face. Because some people, I've heard them say it, I had to fall flat on my face before I listen. There are people like that. They had to fall flat on their face before they listen. So I'm going to go. And with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for your comments, and thank you, moderators, for everything. And it is good to see the comments on here because it does help encourage one another. It makes you realize that you're not the only one that has the mindset that you have, and you're not crazy. No, there's a lot of other people who are thinking the same way you're thinking. And it's quite unifying. It really is. It helps encourages us and helps us to keep going. So I'm going to go. You all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Thank you and love you.